Yo, you know what time it is, you know what we're here to do. Listen, all right, so we have in the last 48 hours, Mr. Penny was released free man based on the happenings between him and Mr. Neely in New York City in the subway. All right, here's what we need to understand. I understand the climate, I understand what things look like, but we really have to pay attention to what the law is saying. And I think that's where we're losing it here. No, it does not look good at all for white Mr. Penny to be choking black Mr. Neely. Let's talk about it. What does the law say? In the event anyone fears for their life, they have the right to defend themselves based on how they feel. All right, we got to be careful with that. What happened in this situation? Mr. Neely got on the subway train, okay? Excluding the fact that he had warrants, etc., etc., etc. When he got on the train, the subway, he stated out of his own mouth what he was going to do to other people, which included the deletion of other people. That's what he said he was going to do. In that moment, Mr. Penny decided to step up because he also feared for his life, as stated, and he begins to subdue Mr. Neely. Now, Mr. Penny, white, two other individuals, one white and one black, also did their best to try to subdue Mr. Neely. In that also, we have a testimony from a black woman saying that she also feared for her life. We have to be careful in how we approach this simply because the results are based on the law. This was not a racial situation. This was a defense of a third party and a defense of self based on I fear for my life. Now, let's get down to the law. If I say I fear for my life, that's based on a verbal assault. Someone said they're going to do something to me, and it put me in a state to where I feel like, yeah, I'm about to get hurt. I need to do something. That is the law. In the state of Texas, it's Penal Code 9.31 and 9.32. Penal Code 9 is going to walk you through all of that. Now, in New York, they have something quite similar. If you approach me and you're in my space and you tell me you're going to do something to me, I have every right to act on that to defend myself. But I have to be able to prove and I have to be able to articulate that I did genuinely fear for my life. Excuse me. That's what happened in that moment. Neely put a lot of people on that subway in a position where they could articulate that they feared for their lives. Now, Penny did act upon that. In the event someone feared for their life more than Penny did, okay, that will be protection of a third party. Perfect example, I'm walking out of the store, minding my business, someone's being assaulted, they fear for their life, they cry out for help, I step in and mediate the situation by force or not. That is actually legal. So I understand the frustration behind the situation. I genuinely do. I understand the climate and what it looks like. However, this is not a racial situation. This is a legal situation. If you do not like the laws and where they stand, you have to do your part, get up, and go vote to change those laws. Again, this is not a pretty situation. However, this is a legal, justified situation. Do not forget, Penny acted because he feared for his life. Civilian. What we cannot do is take the fact that he's a veteran and weaponize that. I need y'all to be very, very careful. Now, let's talk about what would have happened had Penny gone to jail like so many people wanted him to. That would have started a whirlwind of catastrophe simply because now we would take out the defense of a third party, and most people who have the ability to defend other lives will not, because they're going to mind their business. I'm not going to jail because if I defend this other person, I'm going to go to jail. And that's going to cause a whole lot of people to be in trouble, because then bad people will really, really, really be in a space to feel comfortable doing bad things. So we got to be careful with that. Look here, you know what time it is. I love y'all. If it's wrong, I'm going to jump right on it. But if it's right, I'm going to let you know it's right. Do I like the optics of this situation? Absolutely not. It looks crazily horrible. However, Mr. Neely, when he got on that subway train, he was turned up. At the end of the day, he was turned all the way up. And especially those of you who work in the area of security, especially security and or law enforcement, if you're on a post or you anywhere doing anything and somebody acting erratic and you know the steps, Penny definitely knows the steps. You know the steps of the human psyche of where it's going to go right before it gets violent, and you step in, you've done it a million times. I understand you on a contract, but don't forget, if a police officer with all of the expected training can fear for his life, draw his weapon, delete someone because he fears for his life, and be acquitted on all charges, Mr. Penny, an unarmed man, does have the right to subdue another unarmed man. Now, we have to take into account, Mr. Neely did not pass away on that subway train. According to the autopsy and the toxicology reports, it said that he had a lot of things in his system that would hinder his cardiovascular system and would hinder him from surviving that chokehold. Again, it does not look good. I agree that it does not look good. The optics look absolutely horrible. However, Penny, he did not break the law. Again, if you don't like the laws, I need you to understand. You got to do your due diligence to change those laws, right? On the flip side, fellas, all of the fellas, ladies too, you did not like what happened in this situation. I want you to put yourself in this mindset. What if your loved one was going through what those who fear for their life were going through on that subway by an individual, and I was standing there, and I chose not to intervene, and I chose to allow that individual to do what they do? That is not my business. That is not my person. I don't know them. I'm going to let them handle it however they want to handle that, and the person you care about gets hurt. And I think that's where we often miss it, because we expect law enforcement, security, and even military to protect people who can't protect themselves. Then when we have Mr. Penny step in to protect others who may not be able to protect themselves. But I want you to pay attention before you stand and double down on this being racial, because Mr. Penny was white. Yes, Mr. Neely was black. It does not look good. However, the two other gentlemen who were helping subdue Mr. Neely, one was black and one was Hispanic. One black woman did get up and say she feared for her life. So were we supposed to say, Queen, you were just supposed to eat that because Mr. Penny was white? Be careful. I love y'all. This old body by old body attack, no code for the academy, code for the community security. Look here, stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Get home safe, America. Yee!